What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way Season 5, Episode 18, The XXXY Files. So my DVR was tripping and I ended up missing part of Wayne and Holly and part of Kenny and Armando that I know of. I don't know if I missed anything else. And it just really wasn't worth it for me to rewatch the whole thing on demand and have to sit through the commercials. So please forgive me as some segments are missing. I'm going to do the best I can. So let's start off with Sarper and Shakina. So it is some type of Turkish holiday, and Sarper is going to be celebrating it with Shakina and members of his family. So 3 of his cousins end up showing up and they go out to eat, and his cousins' names are Sarp and Sarap. And the third cousin, I think her name was Fusion or something like that. So Sarp, Sarap, and Sarper. Okay, so the conversation goes to children and whether or not Shakina and Sarper are going to have kids. Now, Sarper says that he does want to have children. His cousins say that they want to see Sarper have kids, but Shakina says that she is not having any more children, that she is done. She's had her child and she's not going to have any more kids. And she's dead set on not having any more children. So then the cousins talk about how they wish that they could have seen Sarper have his own children. And Sarper admits to his family that he actually he actually did father a child. And he tells the story that back in 1998, when he was only 18 years old, a Russian woman was vacationing in Turkey, I'm assuming, and they ended up hooking up a whole bunch of times. And then when she went back to Russia, she had sent him an email to let him know that she was pregnant. But she also told him that he would have no obligation to this child. So he said that he ended up deleting his email, and his cousin was like, "Oh, so y'all lost touch." No, they didn't lose touch. He deleted his email, and that's telling me he didn't want to be found by her. And then Sarper goes on to say that he was afraid that the woman was going to find him and just dump this child on him. And so this kind of made me think that he was really truly trying to hide from this woman. So now that he's grown and he's in his 40s, he says that he actually wants to try to find his son, who would be about 24, 25 years old right now. So the family asks Shakina, like, what does she think about all of this? Because, it's brand new to them. And Shakina says that she already knew about this story. Sarper had already shared this with her, and that she doesn't have a problem with him wanting to find his son. So, Sarper says that he is going to somehow find a way to persuade Shakina to change her mind and end up having a kid with him. So I'm like, good luck on all of that. So finally we see them and they're back at home and they have their new bed and they're in the bed talking about children once again. Sarper asks her if she can see herself having a child with him. And Shakina once again says no, she does not want to have any more children. She said, I spent my 20s and my 30s, raising my daughter, and now I'm in my 40s and I just want to have fun with you. And I'm thinking to myself, you spent your 20s and your 30s. She says, I spent my 20s and 30s practically raising my child alone. And I'm thinking, wasn't your child basically raised by boarding schools? Like, what are you talking about? But anyway, so she says she spent her 20s and 30s being a single parent, and she can't go through that again. She's done. She's in her 40s, and she just wants to chill and relax and have fun with Sarper. But her daughter's only like 15 or 16 years old. She's talking as if her kid is, at least 18, grown, on her own, doing her own thing. Well, I guess she has been doing her own thing for quite a while because she's been in boarding school for years. But the child is still needing her mother. She's only like 15 or 16, so she's not quite done raising her daughter. But as far as having any more children, she tells him, no, I'm not into that. And so she also reminds him that, when we first met, we had this conversation and you told me yourself that you did not want to get married and you did not want to have any more children. And he was like, well, I was just trying to sleep with you when I said that. So then she says, so you're telling me that now that you've developed feelings for me, now these things, you actually want these things now. And he kind of got loud and he was like, yes, this is whatever he said. He kind of got loud. His voice got loud. He started like yelling at her. And she kind of tells us that Sarper's going to have to choose between her and having a baby. So this is where I'm thinking the relationship should end because they want completely different things. If Sarper is really serious about having a child and Shakina is really serious about not having one, you don't waste your time trying to convince the other person to do it. This is where you go your separate ways because it seems like they're both stubborn about what they want. But because Sarper is so good at manipulating and brainwashing and convincing Shakina, maybe he'll be good at convincing her to have a child. And it's funny to me how she draws the line. And of course, having a baby is a big, big deal. You're dedicating your whole life to another human being, and it's a huge sacrifice. But it's funny to me how she draws the line on giving him a child, which is like, we're seeing kind of like a softer, more tender Sarper because, he wants to be a father and he wants to, it's sort of for selfish reasons though, because he says he wants to continue his bloodline. He goes, that's the point of life, is to continue your bloodline. So it's not really like he wants to give a lot up and sacrifice and give a lot of love to this child and, turn his whole life upside down for the raising of this child. It's just that he wants to continue his bloodline. But still, because he wants to do this thing that can be considered as very sweet and loving, this is where Shakina draws the line. But she never drew the line when it came to him controlling her weight, controlling her hair, controlling how she dresses. All of that she gave into willingly. Losing her identity into this man, she did that willingly. Didn't even give it a second thought. Oh, you want me to be only 125 pounds? Okay. Oh, you want my hair like this? Okay. You want me to dress like that? Okay. But when it comes to having a family, she's just like, no, this is where I draw the line and I'm not going to give in to you, which is understandable in a way, but she should have drawn the line like a long time ago with him. Moving on to Brandon and Mary. So, they are having breakfast, I think, or lunch. I'm not sure. They're all sitting around the table. Once again, grandfather is MIA, probably because he's out there working. Bless his soul, bless his heart. He's trying to keep the family financially together. So the old man's somewhere working, I'm assuming. I don't know. But it's the grandmother, Mary, Brandon, and Brandon's mom sitting around the table. And this is where they do their baby chicken prank. So they give her a plate of frog legs, but they tell her that it's baby chickens and she doesn't want to eat it if it's baby chickens. But then when they tell her, oh, we're just joking, mom, it's actually frog legs. And she was like, I can eat frog legs. I just can't eat baby chickens. So the prank kind of backfired. So later on, we see Brandon and his mom. It's at night. And I'm realizing that they film a lot of scenes with Brandon and Mary at night. But okay, so it's at night and Brandon and his mom are walking the streets and they are, they're looking for Filipino street food. So they sit down and they're talking about how they never thought their lives would end up where they have. Brandon living in the Philippines, about to become a father, about to get married, and the mom, going through her bout of addiction, and now that she's in recovery, and so they never thought they would end up where they're at. So Brandon, commends his mother for being 18 months sober, and she kind of is like, I never thought that I would see my son becoming a father himself at this age, and he says something to her about how even though he's becoming a dad, he's always going to need his mom as well. And so Brandon says, and in order for him and his mom to build their relationship and to strengthen their relationship, he tells her, I'm going to need you to improve your relationship with Mary. And the mom says, I have no issue improving my relationship with Mary as long as I see that y'all are moving towards some type of an improvement in y'all's relationship as a whole, because their relationship they have a lot of issues in their relationship. So the mom was like, I can jive with Mary. That's no issue. But I need to see that both you and her are trying to better yourselves and in turn trying to better this relationship. So after that, we see them again they're at the gender reveal dinner where it's just Brandon, Mary, and Brandon's mom. And Brandon's mom has the gender of the child, and she's going to be revealing it at some point during dinner. So before they get into any of that, the mom wants to talk about how they're dysfunctional. And she's like, the two of you come from very dysfunctional families. Brandon, she was an MIA mom because she was an addict for so long, and he was kind of like in charge of raising his brother and sister. Mary, her parents abandoned her, so she's dealing with that. So the mom is like, y'all are dealing with a lot. Mary has a fear of abandonment. Brandon has anger and codependency issues. So the mother suggests that they both get individual counseling or therapy, not couples therapy, but individual therapy, to deal with their traumas. And Mary, I couldn't believe it, Mary actually thanked Brandon's mom for bringing that up. And so that's a really good idea. I'm glad that you brought that up, and we will definitely be, taking you up on that. I promise you, we're going to try to get the counseling that we need. So after that, they do the gender reveal, and it's a girl. So this is where things get real sketchy with my review, because I'm going to talk about Wayne and Holly, but I didn't see all of Wayne and Holly. I didn't see the part where she was dressed up like a mermaid, so I don't know what went on with that. The part that I saw was when Holly was home by herself and she was painting, and she was talking about how she had to take up painting to combat the boredom that she goes through every day, because Wayne is working. He works very long hours. She's home by herself. She can't go out because it's too dangerous. His family lives too far. She doesn't have any friends. She ain't got nothing going on except painting. And so she has painted everything that she can possibly paint. And as she's talking about this, the lights go out because, they have these rollover blackouts. So when the lights go out, this is when Wayne comes home from work. And as soon as he steps into the house, Holly's like, I don't like it here. I want to go back to America. I can't take this anymore. It's no hello, how are you? How was work? How was your day? None of that. So he's like, what the hell is going on? She's like, I'm so sick and tired of this. And he's like, you don't have to sit in the dark. I already showed you how to turn the lights back on when this happens. And she's like, you never showed me that. I don't know what he did, but he went somewhere, turned on the switch, and the lights came back on. And I'm like, okay, Holly, why are you sitting in the dark if you can just turn the lights back on? I don't know what's going on. So she's like, I want to go back to America. And he's like, you need to give it a chance. You haven't given it enough time. I promise you it's going to get better. And she's like, I know, I don't want to hear that. I want to go back to America. I want to go back to America, and I want to take you with me. And he tells her, I don't know if I can even get a job in America. I'm a provider. And so I can't go somewhere and have you support me while I'm waiting for my visa to come through. I just can't do that. I'm the one who's supposed to take care of you and provide for you. Plus, I don't want to leave my family behind. And so they're going back and forth on that. And she tells him, you're not going to be without a job for long. Okay. While we're waiting for your visa, I'll take care of everything. And then when your visa comes through, you can start working. And she's like, trust and believe. I am not that kind of woman who would be with a man that can't work and take care of her. So yeah, I'm not doing this because, I'm okay with you not working. Eventually you will definitely be working because I can't be with a man who can't take care of me. So that's where their little segment ended on considering whether or not they're going to leave South Africa or go their separate ways or come to America together or what, who the hell knows. Once again, my commentary on this is that she's the one that made the decision to come to South Africa. She knew what it was because she's been there before. I might have a scintilla of sympathy for Holly if this was completely brand new. If this was like her first time living in South Africa, she had no idea what it was all about. He didn't even bother telling her what it was all about. I might have a scintilla of sympathy, but because she's been there before, she knows what it is. And I don't understand, like, if you didn't like it the first time you were there, why did you think it'll be any better the second time around just because y'all are married? That's not going to change anything. I don't understand. I don't get it. I have no sympathy for her. Girl, you've been here before. You voluntarily chose to come back. Nobody put a gun to your head and made you come back to South Africa. You knew what it was. So what are you doing? You're completely flipping the script on this man because he thought that y'all were going to live out the rest of your days in South Africa. And here you are complaining girl, y'all, anywho, let's move on. Kenny and Armando. So the only part that I saw of Kenny and Armando was when they're meeting up with the surrogate, and the surrogate was like very emotional. And I think she was like very she was willing to do this for them, but they still have other surrogates to interview. But this particular one, she was like, I'm doing this out of love, and everything is about love, and this child is going to have a lot of love. And she talked about how her own family thought that she was, nuts for doing this, but she wants to do it for them. And Armando got emotional, and the girl got emotional. So that's all that I really saw. I didn't see anything else with Katie and Armando, so I can't give like a really detailed review about that. All I can say is she seemed like a great candidate. This is going to be the surrogate's biological child, I'm assuming. I don't know. Y'all put me up on game. Is this going to be the surrogate's own eggs, or are they going to use an egg donor and she's just going to carry the child? I don't know. She even talked about how she may possibly start bonding with the baby, but she understands it's not going to be her baby. So yeah, that's a whole lot right there. And that's my review, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate your time on your way out. Please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.